What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We got everybody from all over the world hanging out with Conquering the Markets this morning. Welcome. If you're new here, someone said they caught their first live stream. Welcome. glad to be here live with you all. If you're just watching this on the replay right now, most of all, I'm glad you found us. Smash the like button. Let's get going today. Let's take a look at the markets. We got a really nice show. I was able to go ahead and sit up this morning and put together some really charts. Remember we were talking about Theta yesterday? In the afternoon update, I was like, wow, that chart looks really good. I wasn't paying attention to the news, nor the project itself, by the way. Just be forewarned, I am not keeping up to date at all with what's going on in development of any altcoin projects, including Ethereum, right? My focus is on Bitcoin. My focus over here, I'm doing my analysis, is on price of all instruments across the markets. That's what I do. I look at price. I'm not following what is happening with these speculative investments, right? So like you could see that Theta today, they launched their first decentralized exchange, the Theta Swamp. And maybe that has something to do with the price being up 16% this morning. I don't know. I wasn't looking at that. I was just looking at what we were seeing developing here on the chart. And that's when I said, well, that looks like a really nice pattern, especially coming out of that cup and handle. Someone on the live stream yesterday was like, well, what does Theta look like? And I was like, oh, I haven't looked at that in a long time. And then I just looked at the chart over here. I looked at the last time we were looking at this huge cup and handle. By the way, is there a cup and handle forming right now on Bitcoin? Someone on Twitter passed a chart. We'll look at that. Explosive pattern. Look over here. Theta just went on to really run over there. But I just picked it up over here, right? Again, we looked at it over there. This was not too long ago. But it was, you buy back into that broken resistance, holding that support, trend line breaks after the consolidation in a huge up move. Yep, that's what you're looking for. Here it is, but we just lined it up again. What I really want to make clear to you is if you hear me talk about any project, I'm just looking at the chart and I'm just looking to see how the price action looks. I'm not familiar with any of these projects, what they're doing. Do not make an investment unless you understand what you're doing. Definitely do not buy or sell something simply because I was looking at it. You're going to get hurt that way. If you want to understand more, obviously join the program, dig deeper into the Conquering the Markets, and do it that way. Bitcoin over here at $38,000, and that's beautiful, right? I made the remark, the other day, it was 38,000 feels really good. Anything above is just so easy. Either way, we got many more to go over here. This morning, she looks just beautiful. Look at this chart pattern. Look at this one day, and look at this area over here. This looks absolutely beautiful and explosive over here. Getting ready to go. Is that a cup and handle forming? No, I don't know anything about that. It doesn't look like a cup and handle to me at all. It just looks like our normal trend line break coming out there. Will Bitcoin hit new all-time highs this weekend? I have no idea. I expect that anytime within the next, give or take 30 days, Bitcoin is hitting new all-time highs. Does it appear right now that it's going to be sooner than later? Of course it does. I'm looking at the same chart we're all looking at the same charts. The only difference is we're not calling a $40,000 top. We're not even trying to call a top on price or anything like that. We're timing it more what's happening, let's call it on chain, how many more months to the next halving, what the current price action becomes. We know what a blow off top looks like. This is looks nothing like a blow off top. Let's take a look. Let's see what we got going on over here. The DXY, right? The dollar this morning, it is respecting the trend line, right? Very beautiful work. Beginning of the new year, we're like, this is where price is trading. Our first video, and we're like, listen, we could go down a little further to 88.40, 88.60, but from here in, we would expect a test of this trend line right here. Here we are right now. Are we going to be rejected or break it back above it? We have no idea, but we're able to manage our risk really well. We're able to manage our risk knowing and now that we resumed off this resistance, this big trend line resistance we were looking out of that channel, we're looking for this to resume out. It still has a long ways to go. If it trades back above here, that we're seeing a bigger move towards 92, let's call it 92.30, between 92.10 and 92.50. The resistance up there, we'll look at that if we break above here. Right now, we don't need to. Right now, we're resuming down. This becomes the next area of interest aside from right here. It's down over here. Let me zoom out a little. You can see this trend line. We focused it on it over here. That could potentially hold as support, and then we could be in a range between over here. Right? The first thing that can happen is this reverses, breaks back above this trend line. Next thing, we come back down into this. If this doesn't hold as support, this is coming down lower. This is testing then at that point, a couple year low. And if it breaks there, there's a lot of further downside. What could bring that? What could bring that downside? We just saw over here, you can see the passage of the $1.9 trillion
vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 50.
I want you to hear it.
On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the concurrent resolution as amended is adopted.
So they were able to go ahead and pass the $1.9 trillion COVID stimulus bill. Now they need to figure out how they're going to spend it, right? So they have, I guess, until, let's say, the 16th of February. What's today, the 5th? So they got about 10 days to figure out how they're going to come to some type of agreement to spend that money. Assuming the package stays at $1 trillion, then it'll pass. If it goes any higher than that, it has the chance of being filibustered. So it looks like, it looks like $1.9 trillion. They've got to figure out how to spend it now. Really, what's the market reacting? We'll look at that in 1 second. We'll look at what's going on over there. Senate passes final resolution. So let's see, February 16th, right? Both chambers have until the 16th to craft the stimulus bill. This is a tweet this morning from the good senator out of Georgia saying, listen, Vice President Kamala Harris casting the crucial tie-breaking vote at 5:30 a.m. in the morning after 14 hours of debate. It was debated, right? It was split 50-50 down the aisle. She was the deciding vote. The Senate passed the $1.9 trillion budget. Georgia voters made this possible. It all came down to this election right over here. That $1.9 trillion COVID package came down to Georgia. And what happened in Georgia, by the way, there are some contested ideas of what happened there. There's video evidence I shared on this channel, right? That was never looked into. It was never went before a judge. And it all came down to that one vote in Georgia, which came down to Kamala Harris today, passing the $1.9 trillion bill. What is, we knew that stimulus was coming, right? We all knew that more stimulus was coming here. I was very consistent about that the whole time. That's the signal we're watching. We're not looking for tapering of the Fed's balance sheet. The question is, when does the Fed go next? When do they have to come back in? Right now, they don't have to. The government just stepped it up with $1.9 trillion in stimulus. Debt. How's that going to weigh on the dollar? How's that going to weigh on the dollar? The dollar so far this morning, not liking that at all. At all. So let's see. Is that just the first package? I'm not sure what's going on with, and could this potentially be more $1 trillion stimulus? I don't know what's going on with the green energy incentive. I assume that the COVID relief bill was way more important, being that we're, of the virus. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see how much, we'll just see what happens. Anyway, happy Friday. Good morning, everybody. Over here it's morning. Bright, beautiful day. Happy to be alive. I want to go through some charts with you. By the way, that's not politics. Those are facts. That's what's happening. It definitely affects what's going on here on the market. The dollar is crucial. If the dollar backs off over here, that's going to be rocket fuel for Bitcoin, by the way. That's going to be rocket fuel for Bitcoin. I want to look at a few charts with you from a different perspective before we start going over our analysis this morning. If you are having fun, if you enjoy spending this time together, smash that like button. Do help me with the Google algorithm and do get me going. I love when I see those thumbs ups going. It means that I'm starting to get into the flow, and then it really helps me get into the flow a little further. Over here, we're looking at silver. This chart looks as bullish as can be to me. If you look back further, we're not going to do that. We're just looking at these daily charts over here, looking from June of last year until the present, right? So silver up here, and that was coming off. What was the low during the crisis? I have no idea. Here's a chart of gold, bullish, 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 right? Look at gold, by the way, coming back down into our circle, our accumulation zone, off that support overnight over there. What else have we got? The NASDAQ, right? Bullish. What is the NASDAQ up? The NASDAQ looks like it's up about 35, 40% since June. Bullish. S&P 500, same, right? Same. Not really going anywhere lately. It's about up at 10% in the last 2 months or so. Still 10%, right? What about nickel? We got nickel coming off 920 over here, up about, that must be about 40%. About 40%. Copper, up about 85%. By the way, stimulus coming. Stimulus coming. How are you going to build those energy? I was talking about those energy, the energy push that will be next. It will be coming. And that stimulus, what's that going to look like? what they're going to have to rebuild the grid network. It can't handle the push. What's going to happen here to copper? Bitcoin, back since June. Come on. Come on. Are equities attractive? What about Ethereum? Always said, at this point in the cycle, Ethereum will outperform. Ethereum outperformed Bitcoin in 2020. Looks like it's set to do that in a nice fashion in 2021. Nevertheless, you know where to find me. By the way, did you see this Silvergate? Did you see the Silvergate over here? Everything is bullish. When you got by the way, Friday session, love to get into it. Look over here, you're looking at Silvergate Capital. I wonder to myself what's going on over here after this was brought to the attention. I'm not sure if it was Eugene or anyone else on the channel, but as we were consolidating over here and drew that trend line over here, I'm looking what's going on now. Like what's going on? And I went on their website. I can't understand who they are or what they do. I went to their solutions first, right? I figure out, well, business bank account. All right. So business checking, learn more. This is really confusing. I can't figure out what the offering is really like. And I don't know. So I don't get it personally. And I spent a couple of minutes trying to figure it out. That's a lot of time, I think, for a user experience, to be, anyway, that's Silvergate. I kind of looked into it. The stock attracted me to it. I looked into it. The website doesn't seem to be, I guess, what I'm used to. I thought maybe it was going to be, I don't know. Anyway. Oh boy, what's going on this morning? I hope language on this channel, like, oh boy, what's going on, does not offend anyone. Just as I hope my tweet about she looks beautiful, Bitcoin looks beautiful, it's not offensive, right? Bitcoin looks beautiful this morning. Just appreciating that as we are positioned into the most important trade that matters, right? Not that other investments won't outperform. No one, and I can't even keep up to date, by the way, with Ethereum and what's being built on there, what's going on. It's too much for me. I have a family, they get a lot of my focus and attention, raising 5 kids, and I don't have the time to keep up on the projects, but Bitcoin I do, and Bitcoin itself, you need to be all in to understand it. You really need to be all in to understand it. This is what we're following right now. And that's kind of how it opened up. But it's funny, in opening up in just 17 minutes and looking across the markets, where did it bring us? By the way, what other attention have I been bringing? Where else have I been bringing your attention? Over here on my watch list over there of all this crypto over here, which consistently seems to be outperforming everything else. If you were making a basket, I don't know, I definitely would have some of these components. Uniswap is not over here. It belongs over here. I've added a couple times to the playlist. Keeps disappearing. That's the more recent one, though. Theta and Uniswap, I would say, are absolutely the most recent. But you're seeing everything else continue. This is green. This is where you want to be involved. Are you looking at, copper or nickel or the S&P or the NASDAQ? Gold? Yeah, I love gold. Now's not the time for gold to perform. We know silver, or I believe and have been consistent about that message ever since April, that silver from now on will continue to outperform under these monetary conditions. That's been the case. This chart looks more bullish than this one, right? And they're both incredibly bullish. But where you want to concentrate your funds? By the way, let's look over here at the cross, the Bitcoin to gold cross. Where is it? There it is over here in purple. And, just watch. This is an exercise over here, by the way, training your brain to be able to see trends and predict future price and where it's going to be, right? And by doing that, you're doing that in a very risk-averse way. That's why we have these magic lines that we use over here on the DXY showing us right now this is a place of interest. It's a place of resistance. We know from what happens from here or from here, well, we could be in no man's land. So it really even becomes, to make it easier, so you don't get involved in the chop right now, is that trend line and that trend line are the two big deals, right? That's where it matters, above and below there. By the way, again, smash that like button if you are learning anything new. If you're happy to be here, I know that I am. What a blessing to be able to. It's right. Smash that like. Is Friday. Boom, bam, let's go. So I'm not going to do this, though, and that's not what I do. I'm gonna, listen. I'm so happy that you found us. I'm so happy that you found us and that you are here because you're gonna learn a lot. It's a very special place. It's an extraordinary place. What is happening here in this moment in time has really not ever been created before on the internet, and that's the truth. And there's enormous value here. There's enormous value on so many different fronts. But most of all, if you're here for the markets, this is the greatest value that I believe that you're going to find. I'm glad you're here, but I don't look at just random, instruments and coins. I have what keeps me successful is having the rhythm of the market. I'm showing you how to understand the market. Right now, it's a Friday. If you could see the presentation, we're step back on a daily time frame, looking at a view that we don't normally look at just to get a different perspective because it's Friday. There's no one here that's making any new investment decisions this morning. Everyone here is positioned or has been taking further positions in the last 12 hours, but not right now. Right now, we're evaluating. We're getting that. A lot of people have been focused on the wrong trades. It's still early, by the way. It's still very early, but it's always evolving, and the markets are always evolving. By next week, it is possible. We know that last weekend, Raoul Pal called an insolvency event possibly this week, right? My response to that, obviously, right away was, obviously not. That's ridiculous. It was wrong again. Every once in a while, though, if you throw out that, like, this might be the market top, and then you're within maybe a few weeks, either which way, I guess people would be like, oh, yeah, I remember when he called that top. But if you're always calling the top, you're always calling the top. I don't pick tops. I don't pick bottoms. If I have to revert tomorrow and find out that we're seeing something happening in the world that, if all of a sudden South China Sea tensions are heating up and then Russia all of a sudden, attacks somewhere, right? And then all of a sudden the possibility of a nuclear war arises and, whatever the circumstance or black swan might be is, I guess, what I'm getting at. And I see a move into risk off. I will be the first one there. I will see it happening. I will know something's wrong, and I will position myself accordingly in the currency markets. There's no question about it. That's not happening right now. We are seeing, though, continued push against the Japanese yen, and it continues to weak over here. This line was added in the training session today by Dave, by the way. This line over here, I'm going to come back down to the 8-hour. This is what we're looking at on a swing trader's perspective over here on the pound, Japanese yen. We've been watching this not over the last couple of weeks, over the last month now. Ever since the beginning of January, we've been focused in on what was going on over here, talking about the pound Japanese yen and talking about where potentially it could go. Trying to zoom in over here towards this trend line in that direction. Dave, in the training session yesterday, pointed out if I connected, let me go ahead and just get over there. Well, I don't know where I did that from. If I connected over here, boom, 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 all the way up is a multi-year trend line going back to 2016, May of 2016 high. Here again, I had another touch and then another touch. As soon as I saw what he was saying, of course, it made this beautiful line over there. It made what was happening on the swing time frame a little bit easier because I said to you yesterday, I cannot see entering a trade over here out of this bull flag. It never came down towards support where I feel comfortable. I don't play breakouts on currencies. I don't play breakouts on the currency markets ever. Always break out, retest, resumption, break down, retest, resumption. If I had this line in over here, though, if I was more focused, had this line over here. That's why it's great to work together, by the way. That's why it's fantastic to work together. This line makes this a lot more clear that this is conquering the markets all day long. Breakout, here's the breakout of the horizontal support and also the trend line support. Retest, resumption, that's conquering the markets all day long. Boom, 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 XX. So what if I could only buy GBTC and aren't fully positioned? Do I buy it? I mean, John, it's not investment advice actually at all whatsoever. I'm just sharing my analysis with you on the way that I see what's unfolding in the markets themselves. How you play that yourself and how you achieve the goals that you want to achieve. I mean, that's the part you just need to work out on your own. This is actually the difficult part, right? What we do here together, making sure we're on the right side of the markets. You see these other guys, these macro guys, just getting it completely wrong. In the most important time there is, 2020, the markets did everything. The most important time to be really dialed in and on the right side of the trade. And these macro guys just got, Raoul did get Bitcoin. He's riding Bitcoin with everyone else. So yeah, that's great, actually, right? I mean, that covers any other mistakes he's making, not to mention that's where his capital is. I'm not denying that. That's really smart. Well, it's also in some other speculative projects. Look, he's a speculative type of guy. So that's what it is. Oh boy, how do we get onto that? Why is the premium so high? Listen, I don't have, again, you could just search these type of things. Maybe some people in this chat know. I guess good to be asking those questions here, but not for me to go over. I just want to be clear about that. Just want to be clear about that for everyone. What else do I want to look at over here? What's going on? We have about 5 minutes to the U.S. equity markets open. Shown why, I think, in a very clear, nickel is just not attractive. Nickel is kind of actually lagging copper. Copper is lagging. Is copper lagging the S&P 500? It would be like a horse race, as well as with the S&P 500, right? We know where our focus is. We know where our focus is. Oh, by the way, I don't know really what to make of this. I love going over the comments, right? Every day that I spend a significant amount of time going over the comments, including waking up, at 5:30 in the morning. And, I like to read them, see what's going on. Someone's really nice. What am I going to thank you, right? Makes no sense that Kip isn't on the life-changing Bitcoin trade. It's way easier than trading foreign currency pairs or day trading stocks. I call the Bitcoin legal insider trading. Andre rode Tesla all of 2020. I have to say that was that was the best trade of 2020, better than Ethereum, better than Bitcoin. Either which way, the risk is different, right? Did you have the risk that you have in Bitcoin that you have in Tesla? Not in my mind at all. One's the safer because of the 4-year cycle. A lot of people don't know about the 4-year cycle. Obviously, all of you do. Anyone following this channel very well understands the 4-year cycle, and that's why they feel like they see the matrix, right? Not just for Bitcoin, but for every other cryptocurrency that rides. About 6 months later is when alt season begins, and Bitcoin is the rising tide that lifts all boats. I honestly would not have taken this trade had I not been educating myself about Bitcoin over the last 9 months. And that's right, it's still early, Andre. I just only got into this over the last 9 months. I hope I had something to do with that, at least help make that introduction. But you did the research. You did the research. This is the problem. As I keep going down to try to read these comments over there, by the way, I try to like and read everything, whatever. But I can't there's all this spam coming from everywhere, people sharing WhatsApp phone numbers, and I don't like it. And I try to remove it, but I can't read the comments, right? So I apologize. It got away in the last 18 hours or so, and there's a massive amount of spam on there. It's important to me, but it's very difficult. I'd rather spend time preparing for a show to present with you, right? I'd rather spend time doing what I love, having a cup of coffee and looking at charts, right? When I first got into the markets, right? When I was a young kid, my own apartment, like Saturday morning, my cup of coffee, at my laptop going over the charts. Nothing better than that. And I still get to continue to do that each and every day. So what else? So the opportunity gets less and less to get Bitcoin under, and that's true. And the same thing will be under 70,000. Look, I don't know where we're going in this bull market cycle. I have a good idea that I understand the flow really well. I'm going to do a really good job at getting out at the top of this 4-year cycle over here. But I don't know where we end up. 70,000 Bitcoin. Look, I've been saying by the end of March, end of April, at that point, I believe we'll be able to see what the low will be in the bear market. So what would that look like if Bitcoin traded up to $70,000? I don't know. Would we be perhaps seeing a peak in the 300,000s? Could we go above 280,000? Right? I have no idea what could happen. I have no idea if we could see something like. I have no idea. We're just going to play it as we play it, and then we'll be able to do it. How about that? I want to come to this chart over here. Here's this chart. This is perfect over here. And you can see, 15 months, the low of the accumulation. We've looked at that extensively because it's so important, including in yesterday's session on the price chart. And here it is. And if you just go left to where you are on chain, it's like where you're getting about 35 months to the next halving. You can see that happening here, same area over here. Come to the right, that was the low. So is it possible for me, because remember that we understood over here what this was going to look like, right? I don't follow the stock to flow. I follow the pretty monthly charts with the colors showing how many more months to the halving, and I'm following price, right? Not what I expect price will be further, but really just like, I understand why in this portion, right? You just saw that pullback, the 30% pullback. We were aware that it could possibly happen this many days after the halving event. Same thing over here. This is when price really goes vertical, right? That's in this area. This is our next, 8-9 months ahead of us. This is what we're looking at in this area. So could we call, or will we call? We'll have an idea of what that bottom could be. I think anything below that is going to be cheap Bitcoin. I don't know if it's 40,000. I don't know if that's 70,000. I don't know what it'll be, but we're 1 month closer now, right? That's just 2 months away. Do I believe that Bitcoin will be trading at 70,000 in 2 months? I think before then, personally. I think before then, I think that this was a 25-day event, right? That was 100% gain in 25 days, 20 days. Will that happen again over here in this period? We'll see. I don't know. Maybe it takes a couple of months this time, but I think by the end of March, I would expect 70,000 seems pretty comfortable to me. Is that the low of the coming bear market? Maybe. I'm interested in finding out. That's just what I do. It's how I have fun. So what's on your minds today? What do you guys want to talk about? You guys want to look at a lot of people are asking to look at Cardano, but everyone should be really, really, really all over this stuff. Everyone should. I wish I could go and tell you when I bought up that alt season. It was about a month ago, right? 3 weeks ago on a Saturday. I was like, and the one before set it up, focusing all the pairs on the altcoins, and then the week after, look, we're in full blown alt season. You got to be able to see it right now. This is a trend that should continue. Nothing is a given. Should continue, through the peak of Bitcoin. And as you get towards that peak of Bitcoin, when Bitcoin's going vertical, right after that, as everyone is just dumping out of Bitcoin and into all these altcoins, they're going to go ballistic. Are you that quick that's something that you want to do? Is that the type of investment you like to make, or do you have more of that low time preference, right? And are you focused on what's happening, out in the future? And are you really making sure that you're involved in the most important trade, the one that you see the clearest, the one with the proven technology, right? That you feel safest about? Not only you, the other guy, the MicroStrategy feels safe about putting $1.3 billion behind. That's what we're looking at. So what are we looking at from you? Jordan, would you consider adding a video to your Bitcoin playlist on how to buy Bitcoin lightly leveraged? No. That should be there's so many leveraged derivatives exchanges depending on where you live, and you can figure it all out yourself. But the video that we did last Thursday in the training session for Conquering the Markets on how to trade Bitcoin lightly leveraged, right? How to manage where your liquidation level is, at what point, and why. That's priceless. That's the stuff you want. That's what's important, Gino. You can figure out where, but very few could kind of, show you how they do it. What's Litecoin doing over here? Litecoin should be tracking Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts pumping, Litecoin should pump. Litecoin looks beautiful. Look at that. Here's the trend line. There's the breakout, the retest, and now resuming off. That's beautiful. Conquering the markets all day long. Yeah, so Litecoin looking very good over here. Yeah, so this is great. Listen, this is true, right? Especially depending on how old you are, right? Really depending on how old you are and how much money that you would like to speculate on DeFi. DeFi is this bull market 2021 is for sure the bull of DeFi, and that should continue in the next bull market in 2025. It's not going to be something new. It's not going to be anything new at all. It's going to be a more mature, stable DeFi projects leading the way. Will any of these projects, like Aave or DOT, or Theta or Uniswap, will they be around in 5 years? So, probably. Will all of them? I don't know. Which ones will the ones that are in lead be giants? I think so. Is this a great time? Yeah. I would do it personally in more of a basket. I would do it. I would take a few different positions of the risk capital I had allocated towards this. We expect not only is Ethereum going to outperform Bitcoin during this phase of the bull market 4-year cycle, but that altcoins will, lower caps altcoins will outperform selected ones, Ethereum. It's not like invest in some project like the Steemit blockchain on Steem token, that didn't make it, and now it's still trading at the lows of the bear market or thereabouts. That's not what you. It's not like all of a sudden all coins were going to pump. You have to be selective about the investments you make. You have to understand what they do and how they do it and what their chances of success are. I had that graph up here of Theta on Coin Telegraph. I used to read Coin Telegraph back in like 2017 often, right? I thought it was the news. I thought it was important, but really it's just a news cycle. It's not really helpful for my investments. Backing away and staying away. If you're interested in it or trading it, right now is the time. That's why I'm pointing it out. But as far as whether or not DeFi is the future, yeah, DeFi is the future. In my opinion, Bitcoin is the most decentralized cryptocurrency there is. Actually, the only currency there is, and the only one that's decentralized, that's truly decentralized, or at least has the world's largest decentralized network behind it, right? The most amount of energy, the most amount of network effects, and anything that could be built on top. They're building on top of these layers now on all these DeFi projects. They're building on second layers, and that's why they're able to get these gas fees down on Ethereum. And you can see Mark Cuban took an investment of like 130. I believe this is true. I don't know anything of 130, but it was shown on chain and things like that, and maybe it's true. $130,000 into Aave, and then just this week doubled down on that, doubled it down. He's one of the larger holders of Aave, and the amount of people holding over $330,000 worth continues to increase. Those wallets are increasing as you're seeing the price increase over here as well. Is that is it going to work out? Maybe it could be a good investment. Maybe it's highly speculative. But in the future, if they figure out how to run decentralized finance on these chains, why can't it be done on a top layer on Bitcoin? If we'll see what happens. Dot Bitcoin, yeah. Let's take a look at Dot. By the way, I haven't taken a look at Dot Bitcoin. So beautiful and easy to see what happened over there, right? Here you got the pullback all the way into this area of support, resumption off, right? It's a very tight, steep trend line. You can see I was tracking over here first. Here we go. Let me come down to even a 2 hour. You will often see me looking at these cryptocurrencies on even a smaller time frame. Everything that happens on cryptocurrency right now at this portion of the cycle is at a much rapider rate than other markets. Bitcoin, I look at the 8 hour because I'm not trading it. I'm not trading it at all, right? I'm holding it, right? Yeah, anyway. So, here we are over here. I'm going to extend down this steep trend line over there. And you can see, yeah, here was the breakout. Here was the retest, never had the resumption off. Kept you out of the trade. Not only that, came back into that broken support, and it held as resistance, and then you could see the dump. Here we come back above that trend line again. Again, no entry. Oh, there's an entry. Yep. Would you take it? Probably I would, right? Then there's the entry. There's another one, same one. Another one people could have taken, right? All same stop losses. I probably would have got stopped out over here. I probably would have taken the tighter stop loss over here, on this trade like that. Now, is it better, smarter, or still valid to have your stop loss above this trendline support, right? Just below it? Is that a safer trade? Yes. Does that mean that your the amount of potential gain is going to be lower? Sure, it does. You have to change your position size. Is that still a really tight stop loss on this cryptocurrency pair, Dot Bitcoin over here? You're not just looking to take out the high over here. You're looking to run much, much higher. It's an amazing trade. It would have been a poor stop loss placement on my part had I done that, by the way. But more importantly, for you to see and understand, and the reason why we do this is so you continue to learn and you continue to improve. It's not something that can be done in a day, but it's absolutely something that you are capable of and are doing well. So as long as you hold above this area, this trend line support over there, this breakout is still in play of this trend line over here. Once you break below it, it's invalidated, and at that point, expect further downside. So that's that. That's that, Dr. Kenneth, my friend. Happy day. Yep. Euro US dollar. How far to push the trade, right? Listen, until things change right now, until something changes, this is the trend of the markets. Until something changes, there wasn't an insolvency event this weekend. Do I think there's going to be one next week? I don't see any signs of it. I don't see any signs of it at all. I think we got a lot of continuing of let's call it reflation or whatever. This is the trend of the markets. This is the signal we're following. Here's the $1.9 trillion stimulus. We were cautious it could be less, how the market will react to that. We're always cautious about everything. That's what we do, right? We're traders. We're investors, always managing our risk. At the same time, we were expecting that, and it was always clear, right? We're going to see more stimulus, probably coming from the government. If it doesn't come from the government, it's going to come from the Fed. Either which way, it's the only way they can keep the music playing, and they need more and more and more of it until eventually it comes to a breaking point and something pops it, right? When was it popped in 2020? Yeah, when the virus locked down most populations of the world. It popped the bubble, right? What happened in 2008, right? Over leveraged derivatives positions on an asset they thought would never fall, fell. Right? Are they going to make more mistakes in the future? Yeah, but you can't be investing or trading for the unknown black swan event to happen. You really, maybe you'll get lucky maybe once in a lifetime or so, but probably not. So, with 750 likes here this morning, thanks for being here. First Majestic, Anthony's always looking over there. Euro, US dollar, that's something that we haven't looked at. That's something I'm very interested in. Let's take a look over here. Back up, right? Euro, US dollar. I'm on the 2 hour. I'm going to come up over here to the 8 hour. All right. Let me come back over here to the 8 hours. We get over onto FX. Let me just clean up my chart for a second from the last time we were looking at this and working through it. Back up over here, right? Back up into this resistance over here, US dollar. By the way, just for some context of what we're looking for the dollar to do right now, right? We're looking for the dollar to be range bound in here until we break above or below. That will give us a little bit further, let's say, direction. So come back to the Euro US dollar over here with that in mind. And, is this a good resistance to sell into as you come into here? If it's rejected over here again, it's a good trade. You could definitely say I'm playing this short over here right now. That's where the momentum is. If I pulled up the true trend, it would be down right now. At the same time, if you're looking to buy off of this support over here, as you sorry about that, as you went back to the DXY, they're too far apart from me. As we went back into the DXY, as we were coming into that resistance yesterday, someone in the training session, I have to remember the name. Carl was saying yesterday, that he was looking at buying the Euro US dollar. We looked at the support he was buying off of. We looked at the DXY. Is that in an uptrend? Of course. That's a very strong uptrend. That's a strong uptrend ever since we broke out of this trend line over here to the upside. This was the bottom over here, looking for a trend line break to the downside. If this would have broke to the downside, we would have seen much, much, much lower Euro US dollar for sure. It didn't happen. It held this area of support over there, right? My good Raul would look like a hero. Brent Johnson would have looked like a hero had had broken down. But I was very, very, very bullish on the dollar over here against the euro. I was very bullish against the dollar versus everything except gold over here, right? And then as it held, I was like, okay, we're not breaking down. I have to readjust once we broke out over here. You can't just get tied to opinion. You have to let the market show you what it's doing and follow what it's doing. Is it possible we're breaking down over here? Is it possible on the DXY that what we're seeing, this rejection that we're seeing today off that trend line resistance above, that's just temporary? And we come back above here. If we break above this trend line, odds are there's going to be a bigger move here to the upside. So that can mean further downside on the Euro US dollar in a big way. And that's that. So I think, well, Roy, the plan is that the central banks right now are introducing their next tool in the toolbox. They like to say their tools in the right? Their tools. What tools do they have left? What tools are they manipulating the markets with? Right? Interest rates. Right? Interest rates are down now at 0. What else could they do? Are they going to go negative on interest rates? Would the U.S. go negative in interest rates? We're seeing now, the Bank of England signaling they're going to be going negative on the pound within the next 6 months. what's going to happen? Euro is highly negative. Bank of Japan, highly negative. That's the only tool that, is that going to work in the U.S. as the reserve currency? There's been all sorts of thought experiments about, yes, why it could or why it couldn't, and it'll never happen. Either which way, their next plan is to introduce digital currencies that they'll have complete control over. They could basically say to you, all right, here's some stimulus, and you have 30 days to spend it. Otherwise, it's going to disappear from your account. They don't need banks anymore, by the way. They'll use some intermediary. They always do, so that like they just cover their trails. It's all coming from the Fed in the first place anyway. But they'll be able to send those stimulus checks from you just from your downloaded Fed app on your wallet. That's how you'll get your stimulus payments, your basic income. That's what's coming, with digital currency. And then they could tax, every transaction as it's occurring. So it's not even like getting double taxed. It's like getting taxed to infinity. That will be happening. They'll also be able to charge certain people negative interest rates, and maybe even others, will get positive interest rate payments at a high rate. Who knows? Will they be able to have a clearer understanding of what the commerce that's taking place because they could see it all on chain? Absolutely. Are they going to be able to engineer it so it'll work out? Oh my goodness! Like, has anything anyway, I don't think so. And they could also cut people off. Right now, you see the dollar used as a financial weapon. You see sanctions placed on countries. You see, not transactions that are not allowed to occur in the SWIFT clearing system. So, what's going to happen when you have digital currencies? The yuan for sure is going to take up a larger and larger and larger amount of trade as a reserve currency. Will it become the reserve currency over the dollar? I don't know. Will the dollar become more of a local domestic currency over time? But it's always going to play a big role in the global stage for sure. Anyone that wants to trade with the United States, it's going to have to be done in dollars. So, but you're seeing Bitcoin just taking a smaller and smaller piece of all that. Bitcoin taking a smaller and smaller piece of that. But it's a big ocean to be playing in. It's a really big ocean to be playing in. So where are we looking at? Yeah, this was very important. Sorry about the popping sound during that presentation, but what was happening there between the conversation between Michael and Ross, it was absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen it yet, you have to go watch it. If you haven't seen it yet, you have to go watch it. Michael speaks about one way that someone might consider actually playing Bitcoin himself. He talks about people holding Bitcoin. I've used things like BlockFi, and not only that, but highly, highly recommend people check that out and consider if that's for them. It's the only exchange I've used, right, for the last 8 months or so. Either which way, you could take out loans on BlockFi. Some people think that's very risky, and it is very risky. You should never do it, right, unless you know that why you're doing it and the risk that you're taking, and you understand that you're comfortable doing it. Right. I did it a few times. I did it when Bitcoin was around 12,000, and then I did it again around 18,000, a couple of times, a few times, but within that range over there. And was it risky? Is this a safe place to do it again? I would never tell someone to do that. That's something that you have to weigh out on your own. I kind of just look at the price of Bitcoin and where I expect it to be going and why. But what Michael was saying, hey, listen, if you want to take some money out of the market and not give up your Bitcoin, you can take out a loan to get those funds, right? Which is a non-taxable event. You have to pay back those funds plus the interest, but you still hold your Bitcoin, and it's a non-taxable event. Listen, Michael was sharing that in the presentation. I think it's worth highlighting, right? And again, you have to make your own choices and/or decisions. But the last thing anyway, there we are. Yeah, but the only pro tip I want to give you is if you are collecting interest in BlockFi, it makes it easier for your taxes if you collect that in a stable coin as opposed to having to then later calculate what was the price of Bitcoin in stable coin at the time you received it and then at the time you sold it. It's very confusing. So what else are we looking at? I would like to anyway, I think that will come up soon, but that has more to do with supporting a cause, very, very close to my heart. But that wouldn't be myself trading. Yeah, gold and silver. We go back to earlier in the stream. You can see gold over here. We looked at gold. We also looked at silver, right? They both look extremely bullish over here. But gold right now coming back into that lower end of that support over there. We had that circled in case price came back into there. That's a place that it looks like this is where you want to accumulate, in my opinion. Could you go lower? Is it possible that we break 1743? Listen, if we broke 1743, I wish I could just highlight. You could see this trend line over here, this clone trend line below, even into 1700, that supply. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, and if it did, I would be, if I was interested in buying gold, heavily considering it. But silver, I expect to outperform at this current stage. When I say this current stage, what I mean is by what the Fed's doing. The Fed runs the market, right? The Fed runs the market, and right now they're easing. They're easing. They're easing big time. In 2021, another $1.4 trillion in QE purchases, expanding their balance sheet further. It'll probably be an event that takes the balance sheet much further, right? I don't think we're going to see like just another vertical move on their balance sheet until the next crisis. Another crisis will happen, but until it's happening, I'm not going to, I'm not going to form my investments around that. That's for sure. XPD. Let's check it out. So I thank you again for being here. It's only about 15 minutes into the session. It's going to go a while because it's Friday and it's just a type of session. I feel like I presented everything very early. I think within the first 17 minutes. The conversation's always fun. I enjoy it. So I thank you for participating in with me. You make it what it is. And honestly, I love what we do here. I really do. XBT, let's take a look over here. Platinum coming out at the bottom of the range, right? That's when we were talking about we're at the bottom of that circle. That's when you accumulate in the uptrend. Are we going higher here? Look, it looks like all assets are going to continue, and especially commodities, are going to continue to rise over here, right? I don't see a top. I don't see anything warning me that I should be worried about a top. I see people like Sven on North Grum Trading or something like that, and he's just always like, this is the market top. This is the market top. This is the market top. This is the, and then when the market tops, I don't remember back in March, right? Was I'm riding this down, wasn't even focused on the S&P 500 until it was like an active event worthy of trading, right? And then he, right, that could be the top bottom. The guy's calling tops as soon as he gets into a good trade. He calls the bottom on it. It's funny stuff. It is funny stuff. Yeah. Thank you, Luke. Luke. Chapter 12, 13 to 21. Oil also, let's take a bigger look at oil 3-day. So oil, well off the zero lows, well off the negative lows, right? Back up into this area. Will it continue to rise over here? Are we going to be looking at sometime in 2021, somewhere around $60, $64, $65 oil? Would you be surprised? Is oil going to 120 anytime soon? I don't foresee that happening whatsoever, but there's a lot of money slushing around. It's got to go somewhere. Australian dollar, US dollar. That I want to say I'm interested in charts. I'm interested in things that are going to help me form my opinion of what's going on over here. That is interesting. This is one that we looked at together. We looked at the entry. Why? I talked about how I take the first touch right over there, right? It's the same stop loss if I take this entry or if I take this one. I don't know which one's going to work out, right? Sometimes the third, in this case, it's the second entry. Sometimes the third or the fourth or the fifth work out. And when they work out, right, is it a better trade? I don't know. And I can't know. I can't predict the markets, really. I can only manage my risk. If I knew that waiting to the third or fourth touch was actually more profitable, I would do it. Then for sure, I don't know that at all. But here you could see over there, entry, the same place where you took the first or second one. It's the same entry anyway, right? Just make your life easier. A big part about in trading and investing is making my life as easy as possible. That's a big part of it. Either which way, here you come down over here, same stop loss. When do you move your stop loss to break even over here, right? if you get into if you break above this resistance into this resistance over here at 0.77, right? It's time to go ahead and move your stop loss at least to break even. Absolutely, right? There you go. But you're looking to take any profit? No, that's where people get it wrong, right? People get into this trade. Some people get into this trade and be like, oh, I'm in really nice profit, and then it'll go stop out, and they're like, that imprints something in their brain that they were wrong, and therefore the next time that they're in profit over here, they'll take the profit because they finally got into profit, and they want to trade the profit, so they take the profit. Right? You're cutting your losers short. You do a really good job at cutting your losers short. You defend your winners really well, right? And you're never going to be profitable. But if you let that go, and if it gets all the way up into this support over here, and then you just go ahead, you don't take any profit because you want to push your winners. You're not in a rush to take profit. Move your stop loss to break even. You manage your risk. You managed your risk at this point. You have a nice trade open that could come back and stop you out at break even. Could you deal with that? Do you understand that a portion of your trades are going to get stopped off at break even though that they were into profit? And that profit might have been greater even than a 1-to-1 from where the stop loss was. In this case, it's about a 1-to-1, right? So you gotta be prepared that a portion of your trades are going to get stopped. Otherwise, you're never pushing your winners, right? So you break above this resistance. Now you come up pretty high, and this is now a very nice trade. No question about it. It's a beautiful, beautiful trade. Do you take full profit? Right? At this point, are you going to be rejected? Are you going to come back down, maybe even test much lower? Right? How much profit do you take off here? Do you take it all off? Right? Do you take 40% off and still let the trade run? Right? How many people that bought the Australian dollar, US dollar, back over here in last April, in May or June are still holding? And think about that. How many people are still holding? Right? And do you see any reason why you'd want to exit this trade over here, the Australian dollar, US dollar, if you got yourself into a nice entry? If you were able to go ahead, get into a free trade, go ahead and get 40% of your trade off. That's a beautiful trade. 40% of that type of position size. That's a good trade. And now you have on the majority to let push and see what happens. So, it only happens here. It only happens here. Ethereum's blowing up. Love to see Ethereum and Bitcoin rising. Ethereum, you have to be happy. Every single person holding Ethereum is super into profit, and it's a good feeling, right? It's good. Bitcoin over here, 38,000 and above. That's easy. Does it get any easier? Does it get any easier? How long before we're looking at 70,000? Look, we could break at any time soon to new all-time highs. Will it happen over the weekend, or will it happen at some point in the next few weeks? I don't know. Very positive, bullish event over here, breaking out to the upside over here of that trend line. I have to say, coming in over here, from here on, I'm sorry, I have to go all the way back here. I have to go all the way back to here and say, from who has shown each wave of Bitcoin better. That's where we are. That's how dialed we in. I'm not going to say from 19,000, we looked at 40,000. 40,000, we checked our bearings. Are we going straight up vertical to 70,000? And if that happens, will we have a bigger than a 30% pullback? But at this point, we're looking for that 30% pullback anytime now. We had a 30% pullback over here. This is a 28% pullback. Everyone on CTM, Alan, go ahead, tweet now. Listen, we were all prepared. Every single person that follows this channel knew that this was coming. When it came, they didn't like it, but they felt able to navigate through it pretty easily. Right? Then we were able to watch what was happening over here. We looked at accumulating more. We drew a circle over here in that area before it happened. Price came back in there. It was a place to accumulate. This was down 30%, by the way. Always watching our downside, wondering what will happen if we break down over here. Looking at $26,000 at being a 38% pullback. Entirely possible. You have to be prepared for it. But now that as we're breaking out over here from that trend line over here, taking out that higher swing high over here, looks very, very, very bullish. But the exact time, come on, there we are. Jordan, you posted 2 trade view setups you were watching in December. They were both trades that could make a trading year. I wish I could post more there in trading view. I posted recently. Let me pull that up. I would like to pull it up. The thing is that, and I wrote a support ticket. So if breaking out of bull flag, looking to extend its run, Bitcoin's next entry in play. This was at 19,000. Wow. And then, so either which way, the reason, but how about this one? This was in June 2020. I was looking towards 12,000. June 2020. Bitcoin trading at 9,400. Everyone was scared, right? Do you remember this? This is June. Everyone was scared. This is coming off the crisis over here. There were still people telling us we're going down to 1,000, that we were going to retest, 3,500. A lot of them. I was watching my trend line. I knew that we were getting close to breaking out. I knew where we were after the halving on chain and what happens. That's why in June, as price was having trouble breaking above 10,000, I was like, I'm now watching 12,000. Boom, there it was. I don't post on there because I posted this thing about Bitcoin over here. This last, Bitcoin's new entry in play, and it got like a lot of likes from you all, 142 likes, and it wasn't even on TradingViews trending. They had like posts with like 30 and 40 likes that were ranked higher. So I wrote them and I was like, how does that work? And they're like, yeah, well, it's kind of like our own internal thing. We give people that we want to give people more views. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to post there, and it's a shame. I would like to. Yeah, but we do what we do here on YouTube, and listen. A lot of people looked at other options. People, I wish we could have the streaming videos hosted on a website. It's just not really. It's just not really. It's a risk. You have some type of DDoS attack and not be able to stream. It's just easier this way. Link US dollar. You don't think it could happen, huh? That's fine. We almost got 1,000 likes, and we're about 1 hour and 2 minutes into the session. That's really, really good over here. This is Link versus Bitcoin, right? What happened? We had a big dump over here. E-Liquid, thanks. Should you always have, if you're interested in some type of altcoin, orders way out of market in case you get filled? We've talked about that over before on the Discord or Telegram. By the way, if you're not getting the alerts whenever we go live over here, we go live every day from 9 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Go ahead and join the Telegram broadcast channel, as well as when myself or Heath on Trade Talk, Brandon on Crypto Trades and Tech uploads a new video, and you'll get alerted. YouTube doesn't do the best about alerting you. This is Link Bitcoin, right? And it was right over here. It was earlier in this week over here, and I said to you, watch out. Just be careful on all Bitcoin pairs if Bitcoin bursts up over here. And it didn't. It's being led by Ethereum. It's being led by DeFi. Look at that. Boom. Right? I brought your attention to Tether over here yesterday. Jumping up over here. Cardano. Everything that's on my list is outperforming Bitcoin. And I would say right now DOT is the only one lagging. Right? And there's a lot going on over here. There's a lot of speculation here. I don't think this is the all-time high. There's a lot of network effects over here. But it is lagging right now. Uniswap should be there. It's not. So let me just put that in there. And that's just teeing off at new all-time highs. So there it is. There it is. That's awesome, Glenn. But, it's everyone's presented with what's going on. It's up to you to make the decisions. It's up to you to act. You can't make an investment unless you understand the trade, right? I just kind of look at charts and make it all look clear to myself. And in talking it through with you, if that also helps something make sense to you, right, then probably things might be lining up. But if you're just like, what should I buy and do I buy it now, you're going to get wrecked. Yeah. Do I have any? That's a great question. Any takeaways from Michael Saylor's keynote yesterday? And just that I love to hear it. Just that it increased my overall watching that type of conversation. Obviously, I'm pretty bullish on Bitcoin. Obviously, I have a pretty good understanding of Bitcoin. When I walk into a room with someone, I generally understand more about Bitcoin. When I go to a conference, you know, do people like, could I even have conversations with some people there about blockchain? Absolutely not. Right. Um, but either which way, it increases my ability and desire to continue to hold Bitcoin with such strength. That's what it does for me. When I hear the way that they articulate certain concepts about Bitcoin, even though I already understand them, it just increases my overall strength of position. And if at any time someone was able to, if there was a bug in Bitcoin that was fatal, I would be out of Bitcoin. I understand that it could go to zero. Now, it is true, each and every day that goes by, every 10 minutes when another block's confirmed, the chances of that happening are less and less. But, I understand that as well. Is it much safer investing in Bitcoin today, right, than it was back in the summer of 2016? Yeah, it's a much safer investment. It's a much easier investment. Yeah, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here to join us and be a part of this. What's happening here? It's an amazing place to be. Everyone here makes me a better person for real. You guys bring that. It's not everyone when they hear that music in the morning. There's a reason we all smile. It's because of what we share here, and it's beautiful. And if you're just discovering us, I am so happy for that. So I'm not really concerned about anything going on with GameStop or anything like that. There you go. So the 8-hour chart, there was a video, and I've posted it up a couple of times. Let me go ahead and get that link for you right now, or I could play it here right now. I think I could do that. Just give me one quick second, because it's a great question, really good question of why the 8-hour time frame. I don't see any other people using it. What's the advantages of it? Why do you do it? I don't have it right now. Oh, there it was. I got it. So this will give me 1 second to take a sip of coffee. And it'll share something really interesting for a lot of people who haven't seen it. So if you've already seen it, smash the like button out of support. And if you haven't,
best time to trade Forex and why. Now, here we're starting on the daily time frame, and actually the daily time frame is the best time frame to do your analysis, to get that broader overview of what's going on. Just looking here now at the euro US dollar, it's clear to see that the chart is down. The trend is down on the daily time frame. You're looking at the chart starting on the upper left and ending on the lower right. A 4-year-old could look at this chart and tell you that the trend is down. The daily time frame is the best time frame to go ahead and draw in support and resistance as well as chart patterns. Always start on the daily time frame and do a top-down analysis. Now, most traders, and you'll see the most popular content on TradingView is either on the daily time frame or the 4-hour time frame. And I do like the fact that a lot of traders are focused on the daily time frame, getting that bigger perspective of what's going on in the markets. Let's take a look at the 4-hour time frame over here now. And a lot of traders are drawn to the 4-hour time frame for multiple reasons. But you know what? There are a total of 6 possible signal periods a day on the 4-hour time frame. 4 times 6 is 24 hours. It's actually very difficult to trade foreign exchange on the 4-hour period. Actually, humans require sleep. Now,
I'm going to go back to the rest of it right now because it gets really, really important. But notice my presentation. This was back about a year ago. Listen, don't confuse presentation with the information. And the same thing, as everyone else, you could be watching a newer channel and maybe their presentation is not, but listen to what they're saying. But listen further now as I get into why the 8-hour continues to be the best time frame over here.
It's also, if you're anything like myself, you got into trading for the freedom that it affords. Now, staring at the charts all day long is not part of that freedom. That actually makes me a slave to the screen. That is not the reason why the 4-hour is not recommended. Now, the reason that the 4-hour time frame is not recommended.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome back. This is Jordan.
You see all the chop? You have all the chop. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome.
Signals in all this market fluctuation that occurs all the time in the markets. and it is very difficult to get a clear signal on the 4-hour time frame. Now, a lot of traders also in foreign exchange are focused on the 1-hour time frame. I believe the reason they're focused on the 1-hour time frame is that they believe the lower the time frame they trade, the more profit they could make in the markets. But that's actually the reverse thinking. Just because you're trading on a short time preference does not mean that you have the ability to make more money. I used to think when I first started out trading 20 years ago that if I was trading on the shorter time frames and I started trading on the 3-minute futures and 5 minutes on equities, that I could make more money because I could take more trades. This is not how an investor thinks. This is not how a successful trader thinks. Actually, when it comes to trading and investing, the longer your time preference is, the longer that you're actually holding, the more of a chance that you're going to make money. And the reason where it became traders and investors is to make money. It's not to take more trades. Look, what's the edge on the 1-hour time frame? There is no edge if you look at it. Look at it right now. Just look at this. And if you're trading this, where is your edge? There's no edge. Now, what is the best time to trade? The best time to trade foreign exchange is on a higher time frame. Now, the 1 hour, the daily time frame is actually a little too high of a time frame. It's a little too high. The 8-hour time frame. Now, this doesn't come default on TradingView. You need actually a pro account. And all you need to do is go down over here and click 8 and then add hours and then add to get the 8-hour time frame. You could set this up free on MetaTrader 4 if you need to. You have to do whatever you need to do to succeed. And the first thing that you can do to give yourself a better chance of success is getting off of the lower time frames, getting off of that lower time frame perspective and coming up to the 8-hour time frame. And why is the 8-hour time frame better? The 8-hour time frame is broken down into 3 signal periods a day. Anyone could trade it, first of all. There are 3 sessions a day. There's Asia, there's London, and there's the US. The 8-hour covers all 3 of those sessions, and it makes it so that anyone, no matter what you're doing in life, whether you're a full-time trader or you work full-time, no matter what you're doing, you could actually trade all 3 signal periods if you need to. And not that I would. Avoid Asia. Go where the volume is. Stick to only the London. Stick to New York. Start trading those 2 sessions. Do your analysis off the daily. Come down to the 8-hour and then look on the 8-hour for signals.
So I don't even know where I go from there, but that's the gist of it. It's such an important video. This was February 22nd, 2020, 1 year ago. 1 year ago, and what valuable information I have over here. This is around the same time, October 23rd, 2019. I went over this. Look at the face. I went over this Bitcoin for beginner strategy, simple and effective. This strategy is probably one of the most effective strategies that institutions, hedge funds, if they deployed it, forget about it. They would crush the markets. It was all shared with you. It was on the 12-hour. Someone mentioned the 12-hour. That's what brought it to my attention. If you haven't seen this video, which has only gotten 5,000 views, you're missing out. Do watch this video. This is something, that mom could follow, and mom could crush Bitcoin if she understood even just, a small 10-minute introduction into the 4-year cycle, and then following just this simple true trend using Bitcoin 33 period on the 12-hour time frame. Lots of gems have been shared here with us, and they continue to be as we continue to navigate. I put the coffee right in front of perhaps the mic. Maybe that's why I was doing it. But I hope you can hear me now, Eric. I hope it's okay. Beware of moms. Right? Forget its history now. Could you take a look at Ethereum, Bitcoin? No. Well. So, that's right. It's a Friday session. We get to hang out and relax a little bit. Just more of that intimate conversation between the two. I have, by the way, Head Snacks, Conquering the Markets, Trading to go out with today before we get to our music. But I'm still here, and I enjoy being with you. I had nowhere to go, and really worked hard to enjoy this Friday with you all. Yeah, the Bitcoin for Beginners video is absolutely gold. Few understand this. You know, there's a lot of people with that influencers within the Bitcoin community. I think they would do very well if they even had that type of understanding. It would just really help them. I'm thankful for everyone who's doing Bitcoin marketing. Right, it's important to get the rest of the world to understand and be able to make the choice of whether or not they want to adopt the most just, fair currency in the world. The most secure, the most decentralized. It's up to them. But the more people that can help them understand it, the better. you know? Thank you. Thank you so much. 1,000 likes. I think it's being liked. Let's check out Link US Dollar over here. Link making new all-time highs this morning. Riding the wave over there. I haven't looked at Link Bitcoin, so just get my bearings on how strong Link is. Not against the dollar, but versus Bitcoin. Let me also look over here. And it's lagging. It's lagging a lot, right? Chainlink is lagging a lot. It's at new all-time highs. I expect it's going to continue to perform well during the alt season here. And listen, it was many months ago on this channel. It was about 6 months before the halving that I was telling people 6 months after the halving alt season would start. I don't know who else got it like that, right? But I'm looking at Chainlink right now and I'm saying, yeah, I expect during alt season, right? It broke the trend line over here versus Bitcoin. It's outperforming. It's probably going to outperform Bitcoin during alt season, but it's not a leader. It's not leading, right? And we could see that it is DeFi projects that are definitely leading up over here. And Uniswap, obviously, probably even the most. Let me put up Uniswap Bitcoin just to get an idea and have that good feel for what's going on. Yeah. Definitely outperforming Chainlink. Definitely on a tear lately. Chainlink will go through those tears, by the way, throughout this bull market in altcoins. It will go through points where it's really outperforming other things. It's having those 20-30% jumps in a session or in a couple of sessions, and it's going to happen on the way up. But it is underperforming compared to some other projects. I think the best thing to do personally would be to have a basket of what you think are the best performers, best candidates, and those would be up until this date, as we know that this is the bull run of DeFi. Bitcoin is the most decentralized of them all, but there's lots of decentralized finance being built on top of Ethereum. And it seems like it's going to be the future. What that future exactly will look like, it's too soon for me to know or understand, right? Look, I bought the Facebook IPO, I bought the Google IPO, and I sold them both and thought I did well. I sold them both like relatively soon thereafter and thought I did well. What a loser. So, but I didn't know at the time. And you don't know which one of these projects at this time are going to be the ones. Well, I don't know. That's for you to figure out and decide. That's for you to figure out and decide. Yeah, Link did kill the bear, but it wasn't Gene. It wasn't only Link. It was also BNB. Binance Coin also killed the bear market after its launch, right? Is that what it is? Yeah, we go Binance. It's still killing it. It's not killing it, right? It killed it over here during the bear market when it went from over here $4 up to $39 in just a few months, right? That's when it killed it. It's killing it right now, but on a relative basis, not really. Bitcoin up 4x in this period, or not really. I take that back. Bitcoin since December January it was up 100%. So is this. It's in lockstep right now, but it lagged behind for a good port. There it is. BNB is one that I think I would have in that portfolio, to be honest. It has a good use case. It really does. It has a good utility. It's used that customers on Binance's platform are able to save money on trading fees, which all of them kind of have a need for. And then they take a portion of their profits quarterly, buy the token, and burn it. So I think it's not up in my list, and it's one that should be. So let me go ahead and add that. And that's why. If If you're wondering why you're seeing Binance Coin currently on my watch list or Uni, refer back to this video. Well, Uni for many sessions we've looked at it, and I keep adding it gets removed. Here we are, Binance Coin. It's the first time. I have XLM on here as well. XLM, I don't. I'm sorry, XMR, Monero. And the reason for that is just to kind of track. Here's something, privacy, being built on a chain that's not Bitcoin. I want to see how it performs relative to Bitcoin, right? Are there features that are going to be put on Bitcoin to help it be more private? Can Bitcoin be used if you really understand what you're doing as privately as possible, right? Is privacy something that is valued in the market? So I follow Monero, but Monero is not one that I would invest in. Justin, this is a really good video. I'm actually going to get it to you just like I got that 12-hour video, the beginner's Bitcoin strategy video. If you haven't, I wish I could re-upload that stuff for you all so it would get more eyes on it because it's such important stuff. The presentation is you have to watch it. It's really good. Let me see over here if I could find what the video we're looking for. Thanks for spending the time with me, by the way. A lot of people follow XLM, right? I have some good friends following XLM, and we don't really I don't really take too much of a look at it. I don't get into. From my vague understanding, it's something similar to perhaps cross settlement, like XRP does. I don't think XRP's use case stands much of a chance versus either Bitcoin and or any of the coming central bank digital currencies. Personally, maybe XLM will have a good few. I don't know, but it's not something that I want to be following regularly. So it's on. Hold on, let me come back to the playlist over there. There's a lot on the playlist.
This trend trading.
I do my best. The video I want to show with you is what type of return to expect, though. Let's go. Realistic profits.
I want
to watch it with you. How about that? I'm going to watch this with you right now.
I want you to picture for a moment
exactly what your life would look like if you were a millionaire. The truth is you would have a lot of the same concerns, consistently working hard to grow as a person and develop fruitful, loving relationships all around you. Your greatest concern in life would still be your health and the health of those around you. There would be one main difference though, and it's an important one. You would no longer have to worry about money. You would have the freedom to do what you wanted, when you wanted. You would have control. Financial freedom is the freedom to be able to make choices. The choices about what you do with your most precious resource, your time, who you spend it with, and where and what you do with it. I want you to open yourself up as we begin to talk about what it takes to become rich trading Forex. Forex traders are often very concerned with how much money.
Before I go any further, what's being shared there is really important. It's really crucial in helping you get to where you want to be. It's thinking about and understanding exactly where you want to go and what you need to do to get there. It's absolutely crucial for your success. So really pay attention. If you have to rewatch this, or go to the video itself and rewatch this later as well. I want to watch a little more with you right now. The question came up though, as far as any other, how about stable coins? Again, I think you should be well researched. I'm researched enough to know that I would feel comfortable holding, either Tether, the Winklevosses G US dollar, or US dollar C Circle. All three of them at any point. I feel, and is it better to diversify? Of course, always. Is there always a risk? Absolutely. Do I feel better? Do I believe the Tether FUD? Absolutely not. Will they bring down Tether anyway? Possibly. If that happens, where does that money go? Into USDC? Probably. But understand everything. It's good to ask questions. You're gonna have to read up on that a little bit more though to really understand the decisions you make and why. Time, the most valuable resource.
they can make and how quickly they can make it. And each day and each trading session is approached as almost the improbable or impossible. The reason I want to share this formula with you is because it's very important to have
The correct mindset, the mindset of an investor. And it's important to focus on this formula for the bigger picture And this is going to help you to be able to execute, which is what you need to do in order to achieve your goals. You need to be able to execute. So let's take a look. Starting with a $3,000 balance, all right, and we're looking at having a 2.5% return monthly for the next 10 years. Now, this is something that anyone who's working with me, I believe they absolutely should be able to achieve. And my goal is to be able to get them to do that within 3 to 6 months. Now this is over a 10-year period, and you're looking at turning $3,000 in just 10 years to $58,000. Pretty good, but that's nowhere close to being rich. Now, what happens if you were to add a $100 deposit monthly? Okay, there's a little bit of a difference, right? Now, what happens if you were to do two things? What happens if you were to add $250 a month for the next year, for the next 10 years? All right, now you're looking at $246,000. This is a little bit better as far as a savings account, but this is not going to, be meeting your goals as far as achieving any type of wealth. But let's just look 5 years out, 5 years later. All right, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, take a look at this. You're making every year at this point $286,000. All right, that's 15 years from now. That's starting with a small account, starting with $3,000.
So I don't know. 15 years is way too much time for a lot of people. They can't focus in on that. They're not going to spend the time they need to spend today, putting in the work they need to today. The most valuable resource is your time. Where you put your time today is producing and planning for the future tomorrow. A lot of people, that's too long, right? Now, there's been some great shortcuts shared with you. Do you remember, by the way, back when it was possible for a lot of people, it's still possible for some, not everyone, but when it was possible back to put your FX account, back in 2019, 2020 into Bitcoin with a broker such as MyFX Choice, or FX Choice rather, and grow your account growing in Bitcoin. I mean, do you understand now the reason for doing that? That's still essentially what's happening. You take a great shortcut here by playing the 4-year cycle, right? You could take a great shortcut here by playing that 4-year cycle, and instead of 15 years, it's going to look like a lot less. Nevertheless, you should have the mind frame, the insight, the perception to understand what it takes and how to get there. And then along the way, if there are opportunities that are calculated risk equals calculated returns, it's going to get you there. So where are we at? ML, amazing. I'm glad you're joining us. Fantastic, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful session over here. We're sharing a lot of stuff that should be showed in school. They don't teach about this type of stuff in school. Yeah, glad to have you. How realistic is it? It's very realistic. Yeah. It's very, and that's just trading, obviously, in foreign exchange alone. Your goal should first be get to break even. If you're paying attention to what I'm saying and putting into practice, and it doesn't have to happen in one day or 1 month or even 3 to 6 months, but it's definitely happening, and it makes first of all, it takes the ability for you to even possibly achieve it, and greatly, drastically increases your chances. A lot of it's up to you and what you're going to do, the work and dedication you're going to be put in. Some will make it, a lot will be left behind. That's the way it is. But is there an easier or better way? I sincerely do not think so. And your goal should be, first of all, right, to subscribe, to watch these videos, and to learn. Could you imagine the education shared in this 90-minute video today that we've looked at together? Yeah, people pay a lot of money for university. Imagine taking some type of econ class. Those kids don't know anything, and their professors less, right? So there you are, invested in yourself. This is where we are together. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, we do once a week. Not only once a week, we do live training sessions. The last two have been amazing. Pushing your trades. The one before that, how to trade Bitcoin lightly leverage. Apps, thank you, Sandra. Thank you very much. It's absolute. You have access to every single training session ever shared with the Conquering the Markets group on replay, and then the live ones we do weekly. Listen, I don't know what else you're doing. Anyway, here we go. I want to go out with actually this over here first. Jorge's asking, could you explain why the halving creates the cycle in Bitcoin? What causes that 4-year cycle that we're able to see that bull market phase, the bear market phase, followed by the capitulation in the bull market phase, right? The vertical blow off top, then the bear market, then the capitulation in the bear market, and then the accumulation stage, and then going into the next halving, and then the next drastic rise in Bitcoin. What's gonna cause the next 4-year cycle? Are corporations and institutions going to use this bear market to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible? Are the rich and the elite and the wealthy, or me, you, and everyone else who understands money going to be trying to accumulate as much? Where does that take us in the next bull? Do we overtake gold's market cap in the next bull market 4-year cycle? I believe so. Where does that have Bitcoin trading? Is it going to be trading $500,000 per Bitcoin? We'll see. If you do the math right now, I think it would be for the gold, the market cap gold has right now. Someone could do it, right? I've done it before. Take the market cap, divide it by the amount of Bitcoins there are in circulation, and see what number you get. Anyway, I forgot how I did the math. I did it before when the market cap of gold was $7.5 trillion. That equaled like $320,000 per Bitcoin. The market cap of gold now is much higher. That means that the price of each Bitcoin would be higher. If it's 450 or 500,000 or what it is, I don't know. I imagine the market cap of gold 4 years from now is also going to be trillions of dollars higher. We'll see. So, yes, listen, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, for helping make this community better for all of us. You guys are amazing. You guys are a huge blessing for all of us and just make the experience that much better. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. I'm going to go out, though, rocking Head Snack's song over here. Let me pull it up over here. This is a good way to get us out. And then I'll go out with our exit. All right, we got to hear that drop. By the way, Brett, Head Snack over here has... he's done the intro that we use on this channel forever. And a lot of people loved us. In the afternoon update videos, that 7-second intro, we love those beats so much. Brett spent an enormous amount of time putting this together for myself, right? An enormous amount of time. I'm so grateful. And thank you. And this means a lot to me. I'm going to play this right now. You can find this on his channel as well as any other music on Headsnack.
Analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip the matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing. The prices might be slashing just to pretend they're in fashion. Hit the like button, comments, and smash it. Boom, boom, Jordan in the room. Grab the bull by the horns and to the moon. Throw from the plateau, make the play. Boom, boom, it's a taco day.
It's a taco day. It's a taco day.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Listen, question came up, what do I think are the best Bitcoins on all of YouTube to learn more about Bitcoin? There's no question about this channel's Bitcoin playlist to learn about what is going on with Bitcoin. But if you want to learn more about Bitcoin itself, maybe some of the technical aspects, some of the more, let's call, theoretical aspects or philosophical aspects, I like Tales from the Crypt, Marty Bent's work. He has a newsletter. Also, I never subscribed to the newsletter. I've watched many of their podcasts with Matt Odell, especially the Friday ones. The Friday ones where it's just him and Matt talking about the week that just happened and what's going on in Bitcoin. I've enjoyed listening to those episodes for quite a while. They also talk about Matt gets into security on Bitcoin. Very, 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 very important. And if you really want to start learning about how to really secure your funds, that's a good place to go as well. I enjoy listening to the Investors Podcast with Preston Fish. Every Wednesday, they started doing podcasts about Bitcoin. I listened to the first episode. It was like sometime in November, early December, and it was like Bitcoin 101. That's a great podcast, that one. I haven't heard any of the rest, but that one right there, that's one that everyone should listen to. If you're new and you want to understand Bitcoin from like a beginner's perspective, Anthonopoulos. What's Anthonopoulos' name? Anthonopoulos beginners, discussion on Bitcoin. Good one. There's lots of good resources today. What Bitcoin did is okay. Yeah, great video, Head Snack. Thanks for getting that in there for us. Yeah, Preston Fish podcast, must follow. I should listen to more of them. I wish I had a lot more time to listen to a lot more content. When the kids get older, I will. I love it. I love educating myself. When the kids get a little older, I'll have more time. I do what I can to stay in the loop and understand what's going on. Raoul Pal. I wouldn't listen to Raoul Pal to understand Bitcoin. I would listen to Raoul Pal to he's good to listen to every once in a while. Bitcoin Light Raft might be a good one. Yeah, it might be a good one. Anything Michael Saylor has to say has been really helped that deeper understanding of Bitcoin. And Anthony Popolano does. I like his podcast, not just about Bitcoin, usually about other conversations, because I like to learn about everything. He's got a lot of different interesting guests on. Lynn, yeah and no, right? Yeah and no. Some people are I like listening to Lynn explain why about a lot of other macro events. If you're going to be a macro person, Luke Roman, Lynn Alden, two of the best to listen to. There are others out there that just get it wrong and just get it wrong and get it wrong for too long. Those do not listen to. Do not listen to. When Ray Dalio speaks, I don't listen. What else? Pomp definitely is the hardest working person I know. I haven't listened too much to Jimmy. I heard Jimmy on that Preston Fish interview. I'm about halfway through it. I want to listen to the rest of it. It was very good. I don't know if there would be any interest on this channel here. Jimmy just released a book. I forget the name of it, but I believe it talks about the justness of Bitcoin as money and why it's fair. I think he brings faith into that part. I don't really. Anyway, I haven't read the book yet. I would like to read it, and if it's worth sharing, then really talk about it with you all. But that might be something definitely worth interesting. So anyway, thank you everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. I'm gonna go out with our intro extra. Thank you for dealing with my humanness, my brokenness. I appreciate it. Everyone, have a beautiful weekend. I'll probably be doing a video on cryptocurrency tomorrow. Look forward to that, and I'll see you all on Monday. Thank you, everybody. Really, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Have a beautiful day. Be the light in the world. Change someone's life, really. And usually it's those right closest to us. That's where it takes the most effort. That's where it takes the most love. Let's make sure that we are the strongest there. Everyone, have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you later.